Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today I've chosen to share with you a special fold, and it's called the collar fold, and you can see that if you look at it from here, it kind of looks like a collar for a blouse or a shirt. And I've chosen to use the Whole Lot of Lovely designer series paper. I set myself a challenge a couple of years ago to use designer series paper as much as I could, and this one plus the design the colorway I'm going to show you in this video, which is the pink colorway, both of these papers come from the same pack. I've also chosen to use the Southern Serenade stamp set, not so much for the flowers, but because of these two greetings. And I'm using the happy birthday, and the design of card I've got here will equally fit the thank you stamp. And also this little bud here, I've used it on my envelope and inside my card as well. So the colors, as I said, that I've chosen to do is the powder pink. So this is card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle here, and it's the extra thick white cardstock. Then I have a piece of powder pink, which is 4 by 5.25, and I've run it through the Big Shot with one of the new products from the Occasions catalogue, and it's the Petal Pear embossing folders, and you get two. One is a very pretty floral one, and then the other one reminds me a bit of like bamboo really, and this is the one I chose to use, and I only need it on one side of my cardstock because my designer series paper is going to cover the other side. So with my designer series paper, I've chosen to use the pink side outwards, and then the blue side is going to be folded back. And in order to do the collar effect, I'm going to make a cut into the designer series paper. Now, rather than try and do all the measuring with a pencil and a ruler on my video, I made myself a little guide, and this is the width of the paper, and I then mark the halfway point, and I want my cut to be about 1.25 inches from this edge. So this piece of card is actually 1.25 inches, and all I'm going to do is to put a little hole in there, and I'm working on my piercing mat with the piercing tool, and then with a pair of paper snips I'm going to just cut from the edge to my little pinhole there. And then I'm going to fold these back, and I found the best way of doing it, I'm hoping that you can see, is to put my nail next to the pinprick and just gently break the fibers and pull it towards you like this. Then move up to the corner here, and again put your nail right on the corner and break those fibers. And then what I did, I got back with the guide and I just lined it up corner to my little pinhole, and I just pulled it down, and that gave me a really nice fold. And I'm going to repeat on the other side, just break the fibers by gently pulling it down, and then put your nail up on the corner here and gently pull it down, and then get your little guide and line up corner to pinhole, and then bring it down like that. And then with my bone folder, straight in onto here and put those nice folds in nice and clean. And to stop the, if you like, the tips of the collar flying around, I'm just going to put a couple of glue dots underneath each, well, one glue dot underneath each of the flaps. So like that, and that will hold it nice and firmly. And really that's it for the collar fold. So it's just a case of assembling the card. So I'm back with my piece of pink, powder pink card, and I'm also using one of the new products from the catalogue, which is this lovely 1/4 inch white organza ribbon. And I've cut myself a small length, and I want it to be positioned roughly halfway up my card, and I'm just going to pop a little snail adhesive on the back just to tack it into place. And then just fold it over like that. All right, now I'm going to come back with my piece of designer series paper, and I'm going to use some liquid adhesive, and I just want to put some on the outside, and I want to make sure I don't put any near that V, and it'll become a little bit clearer in a sec when I show you why. So I'm going to position my piece of paper and make sure I've got some even borders. The DSP is let's see, 3 3/4 by 5. All the dimensions will be on my blog, and there'll be a link to that underneath this video. Just gently smooth that into place. And now I want to make sure that this piece of ribbon is going to be coming out of the middle here. Because I only tacked it down with a little snail, it'll come off easily, and I'm just going to work it down. And this was the reason that we didn't want any adhesive just here on the back, because we need to reposition it, and I didn't want to have my glue there. And then, because I have a terrible fear of my cards falling apart when people take them out the envelope, I always like to put a little bit of adhesive tape on the back just to make sure it doesn't float off, and burnish that a little with my scissors or my bone folder, and then I know it's not going to fly away when it gets on the card. So on the back I'm going to use dimensionals, and one on each corner, one in the middle. Press them firmly, and then the backing will come off quite easily. And then with my card base, which I had here a moment ago and it's disappeared, here it is, I'm going to just center it up here, press firmly. So this color here is Pool Party. But I found that the Pool Party card itself was a little bit on the strong side. It's kind of swamped the pink. So I decided to go with the Soft Sky. And I've stamped Happy Birthday with Soft Sky, and I punched it out with this label punched, which is another product in the Occasions catalogue. And then I cut another piece out with the same punch out of the Soft Sky. And I'm just going to layer them, and I'm going to do a slightly different layer than I'm used to doing. Normally I would think about cutting this piece of card in half and putting a piece at the top and another piece at the bottom, but I decided I'm just going to have a layer coming out of the top. So I'm just going to make sure that the ends are lined up like that. Perfect. And then another couple of dimensionals. Like this. And I'm going to stick that on the card. And I'm going to pop it over there. And then I made myself a bow out of the same ribbon as we've used here, and I have a video on how to make one of these bows, and you'll be able to find it on my playlist. I'm going to pop it there. And then my final embellishment today is going to be these cute Petal Passion Embellishments, and they have some leaves and some flowers. And I use the leaf on the dark blue card, but on this one I'm going to use the flower. Pop it there, and there we are. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one. As I say, there's a link at the end of the underneath of this video. It'll take you to my blog and then to my online store, so you can find the supplies if you wish. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye for now.